Hey there, I am Tish Times, and I want to talk to you about the power of your follow up. As sales professionals, we often focus on those serious client conversations, converting more people through the way that we're connecting with them on social media, or the way that we're meeting with them in various environments. But I will tell you this, one of the fastest ways to build your client base is by looking at your current network, looking at the people that you've already connected with and mastering the power of follow up, because the likelihood is they've already raised their hand. They've already, at the very least, acknowledged the fact that you're the expert and they know that you can solve their problem. And if we have a flawless follow up process, then the likelihood is so much higher than we're able to actually help them. So I want to just chat with you today about how we can do some of these things. And I will say that there is some prerequisites to our follow up, and one of those things is when you're calling, you want to make sure that you're offering to help, whether you're emailing, you're connected with them on social media, not going in and asking for the sale. I think that people are at a place of being completely burnt out on having a million different inbox messages for, reaching out to them and immediately asking them for something. And so, one of the ways we can differentiate ourselves is to create a solution, make sure that we offer something that we know is going to be valuable to that prospective client. And the reason we do this in advance is that when we are ready to make that follow up call, that follow up connection email, whatever it might be, they're going to be more likely to take your call. They're going to be more likely to say yes to that secondary ask if we've already created value for them. We've already proven ourselves to be someone who is extremely concerned about their well-being, right? They're getting their solution addressed, opposed to always thinking about how we can make the next sale, how we can get them to close quickly, all of those things that, again, many times in business we're consumed with, because without sales, our businesses, they cease to exist. But if we're smarter about it, then we can actually get more results, have more results in our business. One of the things that, I love also is to ensure that we're taking the time to do the research to get to know that person. You're not going to get to know them personally, just on social media. However, retweeting something that they put out. I don't know if people are tweeting as much anymore, but using LinkedIn, which is one of our, primary focuses, or even on Facebook, and going and taking a look at what they've been doing. What are they talking about? What are they passionate about based on what they're communicating about on their social media, and then utilizing that information to, number one, get to know them. But on some level, it gives you a way of knowing, is there any commonalities? Are there any things that I might be able to communicate with them about that I'm also passionate? I met someone on LinkedIn the other day, and she was talking about how much she loves to travel. That she's an introvert, but she loves to travel, and she, runs a business. And immediately I'm like, you know what? That's me. I am an introvert, though people might think I'm an extrovert, definitely an introvert. And I love to travel. And so it wasn't one of those weird, salesy, icky, conversations. It really was, I love to travel too. Let's talk a little bit about some of the places you've been. And if in the event it makes sense for me to talk a little bit about, how I might be able to help you, then that's a great time to do it. If it doesn't, that's okay. The whole reason for us doing this is to be able to build a relationship. One of the good ways I believe that one of the things we might do to miss out on our follow up is only making phone calls, only sending, emails, or leaving, so many voicemails. I literally this morning, I got an email from someone, and when I opened it, if you don't respond, you'll only see the inbound emails, right? There was 6 inbound emails from this person, and every message was like, "Hi." Basically, what I was hearing is, "Hi, buy my stuff. Hi, buy my stuff. Hey, buy my stuff." And it just turned me completely off. And I'm in sales, so I'm normally not turned off by people trying to sell to me, because I understand the purpose and the power of it. But we can be more effective when we take a multi-pronged approach to the way that we follow up. I created a follow-up formula that allows people to see all of the different ways that they might be able to follow up. Of course, emails, handwritten notes. Who's doing that anymore? So few people will put something, a pen to paper, and put something in the mail for someone that when someone gets something that is so non-traditional, so, something that people just aren't doing so much anymore, it stands out. And so find some ways to stand out in your market, stand out in front of your prospective clients, because you'll have more success after they've gotten a handwritten note from you or something that is a little bit different. So when you do make that next call, email, follow up, whatever that might look like for you, they're once again going to be more apt to say, hey, let me just talk to this person. Even if they're not ready to buy right this moment, you've at least opened that door a little bit more for you to be able to move to that next step. I tell you what, this is something that I kind of feel like everybody knows by now, but I don't know that people are using it to their best advantage, is using video to follow up. I have had personal experiences where I've emailed a prospective client, I've called them and, done all the various things. But when I responded to them using video instead of just using a, traditional method, surprisingly, they responded to me. I don't know if it's just because it's an eye to eye connection. They feel more like we're face to face. I don't know what it is, but it definitely makes a big difference. And people, I guess they feel like if they get to know you a little bit, hearing your voice, sometimes it makes sense. Now, I will say to cold message people that you've not connected with, that may not work as well. But once you've made a connection with someone, and then instead of following up on an email or following up via, uh, you know, a phone call, then maybe sending them, and I can still send the video via email, or even sometimes if I've made a close enough connection with them via text message. But surprisingly, people respond to it quite well. So Loom is one of the platforms. There are dozens now, but find something that's going to capture their attention and provide value for that prospective client. Something that we've heard over the years, of course, if you've been in sales for any length of time, and even if you're not in sales, but you're in business, is creating that level of urgency is powerful. So if there is something that you can create that is of value and add a deadline to it when you're doing your follow up, if in fact you have the right prospective client, I'm a big proponent of the fact that you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And so if you're talking to the right person and you know that they need what you offer, adding a sense of urgency can be a great way to get them to respond faster. I know I've just seen this work for my own business where, we're putting together a new program that we're closing out the date pretty quickly, and just giving people that information and letting them know that this is the time frame that they have to respond if it's something that they're interested in. You'll be surprised at how many people will respond to that. Some of the things that, over the years, I found to work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now people are working more from home, so this may not be as effective as it was once, before, when you were dealing with corporate executives who went into offices. But if you're a business to business who works with the corporate audience, this may still work for you. I'm calling early in the morning or late in the day because I find that people, I get in early many times just to get some things done before all of my meetings begin, or maybe staying after a little bit. So again, you can kind of try those things and see if they might work for you, because our climate has changed and people are working more from home than they once did. It may or may not work, but this is where you have to find that multi-pronged approach and figure out what is going to work best for your ideal clients. But use what's going to work. If voicemail's not working, try something different. Some people will respond quicker to a text message and others will be completely turned off by it. So you'll have to do a little bit more research to get to know your ideal clients, but do what's going to work. Get creative, right? Uniqueness is where we stand out in the marketplace. And if you can just show them a little bit of a snapshot of who you are, believe it or not, that's going to go a long way than you trying to pretend to be someone else and doing all the things that, quote unquote, all of your contemporaries are doing. Get creative, do what's going to work for your ideal client and what's going to feel really good to you. You might surprise them. You might be so different that they say, hey, I want to take a look at what you got going on. It's happened for me on both sides, where companies have said, I love your persistence. You're showing me what you're going to do for me when help us with our sales. So they said yes to that. And I've also had people that I'm like, I'm seeing you and I'm interested in what you have going on. So you might just be able to get your foot in the door by doing these things. So this gets me so excited. It gets me so excited because, again, it's just a creative way of making sure that you're not missing out on opportunities. So obviously within the first 24 hours is your idle. That's your hotspot, right? That's the time when you want to get in front of those potential idle clients for you. When you've met them at a networking event, you reached out to them on social, you've connected with them elsewhere, someone else has referred them to you. You want to make sure that you maximize that hot time within the first 24 hours. However, if they have not responded, these are all, so what I'm giving you now is in the event that you've not gotten a favorable response, you continue on this path. Once they say yes, then you don't have to continue this. But what I'm finding is that the consistency is what really works if, in fact, they're your ideal client. So if in 2 weeks you've not heard anything, you've done the reach out, you've done what you're committed to doing, but you've not gotten a response or not gotten a positive response. Within 2 weeks, you want to maybe reach out and invite them to go on what I call networking dates. And what networking dates are is where you find someone that they need to meet, or you find a spot that they need to be at an event that you're sure they're going to find their ideal clients and say, hey, Betty, we're going to be heading out to this event next week. And I get the impression that the people that you're looking for are going to be there. How'd you like to hang out with us? I got an extra seat. I got you a ticket and you're invited to come and hang out with me and some of my colleagues, or, I'd like to just maybe take an opportunity to get to know you better. Let's grab some lunch and we can go to this event together. So networking dates is a great way to build relationships, to establish that level of trust. And surprisingly, when we're making that kind of an offer and people realize that you're trying to connect them with someone that they ought to know, many times, once again, they're more apt to say yes. Within 30 days, still haven't heard anything or still haven't gotten a positive response, but maybe reach out and find out where are they networking, and maybe kind of flip the script from the first, the networking date. Where are you networking? What groups are you a member of? Would you be willing to give me an invitation? Can I go hang out with you? I'd love to, to decide if this is a group that might be ideal for me. And then, again, people often, believe it or not, they like to be of service as well. And so by you asking for that invite, surprisingly, people often will say, yeah, sure. I'd love to bring you to my BNI group. I'd love to take you to this networking group that I've been going to, or this conference that I'm going to be attending. It's surprising how that works out. Within 60 days, if this still hasn't worked, then by all means, want to create what we call introductions for those dormant leads. And that will be you finding out who they need to work with, or finding out based on what you know about them, who's going to be a good connection for them, getting that person to agree to a meeting of some sort, and then reaching out to that person. And it's like, hey, Dwayne, I have this person who says they need XYZ, what you offer. And I'd love to invite you to a meeting. I've already set it up. So if you want to just join this meeting, then I'll make the connection and we can just kind of figure out if this is someone that might be a good potential client for you. So making those introductions in a very strategic way is great. If you can do it in person, all the better. If you can meet them all together at, a local coffee shop or a co-working space, that's perfect. If you're all in different parts of the world, then do a Zoom meeting, but you want to make sure that everyone is present there. So you're not just kind of sending an email and saying, hey, you guys, go network and figure out if it works. You really want to create a strategic meeting where the three of you all can get together and connect. And many times I'll kind of facilitate that meeting and say, hey, I connected you all because I felt like based on what you do, this, and what you do, there's got to be some synergy here. And, I'd like to explore how that might work. So you become the resource, the person that they trust to know that is going to make good connections for them. But more importantly, you're giving them both a gift. And that's always a great thing. At the end of 90 days, if, you're still like, okay, I still have all of these cards that have not really connected or converted. I have all these connections in my CRM that I'm like, what am I supposed to do with them? This is the time when you do your strategic reconnection call week. And so maybe once a quarter, maybe twice a year, you want to make sure that you're doing these strategic reconnection calls. And the call might go something like this. Hey, Susan, it's Tish. I am just reaching out to all of the people that I've met in the last 90 days, or the people that I've met in the last, 6 months. You're on my list. I'm just wanting to connect, find out what you got going on. How can I be of service? Are there any people you want to meet that I might know? Are there any events that you want to attend that I might already be a part of? How can I help you? And so what generally will happen in these conversations Number one, if they hang up on you or they don't answer, so what? You weren't connected to them anyway. So it doesn't, you're not losing anything. But what if they say, hey, Tish, I'm so glad you called. I actually was thinking about you. I know we haven't talked in a long time. The timing is right now. Or, you know what? I know someone who kind of, probably should meet with you. A lot of magic happens in these reconnection calls. And the worst thing, I guess at best, what could probably happen is you just kind of re-engage them and put them back in the beginning of your follow-up process and kind of start from scratch with that particular person. So think about this. What if you made 50 of those calls and had two people to convert? Is that worth your time? I would say, yeah, right? So it's another thing that you can do to kind of incorporate into your follow-up process to secure out some of those lost dollars that are sitting on your desk or hanging out in your CRM, and you probably were not, thinking about doing anything with them. And so just think about it. How much is each new customer worth to you? How many, clients would it take for you to get to your goal? And let's just say your client, let's just give it a easy number. $10,000 is your average package that you sell. And you have, and I'm going through my reconnections right now. So, you have 45, cards on your table. How much is that times your $10,000 offer? You have all that money just kind of being left on the table if you're not willing to re-engage those previous connections, those people who at the very least said they were interested in talking to you, and you've just not been able to continue that conversation. And so if you're not following up, I promise you, you're leaving money on the table. And there are some easy ways to get it done. If I can be of any assistance at all, I'm here for you. We have a follow-up formula that we, give away at no cost. If you'd like that, just reach out to me. I'm happy to provide it for you. And hope you have a great rest of your quarter and the rest of the year. Hope you reach all of your goals.